think I'd want to watch that thing going back and forth. Pretty sure you don't either. Alright, so I've got this area relatively flat up to just a tiny little bit right there on the edge. And I've got these washers sort of in my way. So what I'm going to do is when I come up to the washers, I'll just leave that little tip there. And when I get through, I'll turn this thing round flat on in the mill vise and sort of shave off that little bit there, and then it won't be there in existence. And that'll put me closer to the Tom Lipton model anyway, because he made his with a 2x4, and I'm making this out of a 3x3. All the lines disappear. As you can see, you can visually see there are fewer little grooves in there already. So I'm on the way. That long end mill was just too long for the job and giving me chatter and all that. And you can see that it was leaning away from the metal there, just due to the length, because I got a much larger, more rigid end mill to go in there and clean this thing up with, and I think it can do the job a lot better. No doubt that end mill's cutting from one end to the other, you can tell by the long skinny chips. And I think another 5 thousandths on that side should probably be good enough. I can't say I'm right on the line, probably a little bit away from it yet, but if that cleans up good, that'll be good enough. Alright, so now I want to cut a few little grooves in it, just like Lipton did, and so I'm going to cut them right off both ends. And I found some ball-nosed end mills, some really small one, about an 1/8 inch or something, that would have been just great. But I don't have a collet to hold them, so I moved up here to a 5/16. I've got a collet that'll hold that, and it's believe it or not, it's a Niagara cutter that I got at an auction. Alright, I'm going to measure this and try to determine what looks good. I decided on 450 thousandths apart, and that's the way it's going to be. So I'll just keep running back and forth like this until I've got it grooved in both directions. I'll leave 450 apart for the ones lengthways, and the ones crossways will be a 1/2 inch apart. I think so. I might make them 450 also. We'll see. Alright, so there we go. That's as far as we've gotten. I'll have to put it in the vise, trim that off, and then I've got to cut the groove in there, and a groove back here in the back, and of course the little relief down through there. So there's a lot of steps left, but I've been out here my 3.5 hours and my back says it's break time, so we'll come back later. Alright, time to square things up. And so it'll go until it's squared away. I'll bring you back. Looks better to me every time I take a step. So, okay, now I've got to cut the slot in the back. Mr. Pete tells us to be careful of your order of operations. I think I was a little careless with the order of operations here. So I had to do a little special fixturing to get this thing in there. Got this little bolt holding this edge up, a couple of them holding the other side down, and I've got to cut that slot in the back of it there. You know, it's before I retired, I was in working in the evil polluting refinery in what they call the process control computer group. They maintain and program the computers that control the refinery, and I found out either yesterday or today the whole bunch got laid off. So, bad news. So while you guys sleep, I will work it back and forth on this till I get the slot cut. Was there a lot of cutting? You tell me. It's just spread all over the place. But I've got the slot cut in the back of it now. And we're on the home stretch. We'll be finished soon. Well, the time has come to cut that little relief groove right down the middle. So that's what we're going to do. Gently, of course. And that looks pretty darn good to me. I think one trip through should do that. Okay. Now then, all I got to do, I'm going to put little feet on it so I can clamp it down. So I've got the little feet picked out already. And they're right here. So I got to drill some holes, thread some holes, mount the little feet, and we'll be ready to try it out. Recently I got some of these countersink bits, and so I've never used one before in my life, but we're going to countersink a couple of holes, I think. At least we're going to try. Okay, let's stop right there. I can duplicate that every time. And so it'll go 3 more times. Alright? Okay, the legs are on it to clamp down. Grooves in the back. I haven't cleaned it up yet, but we're going to try it out before we go cleaning it up. Looks to fit right. Let me get a clamp. I figured to just clamp it down when I want it on here. That's an easy thing to add and remove. Okay. I would guess that would chamfer something. Let me get something metal. All right, here's a chunk of metal. Let's give that a shot. bit too close. We'll move it out just a little. All right, let's try this. And it chamfers metal. I can see that what I need to do is put a couple of stops on the back of it so that it can't move around. Every time I put it on, it's in exactly the right spot. That'll be an improvement for a later time. But a Tom Lipton chamfering fixture, redneck style. All right. So before you see it again, I'll get all the red off and sort of dress it up a bit. But that's enough for today. I've worked on it. I started this too late to put it out on a Thursday, and I've worked on it too long and too hard. So let's just go ahead and see what Bubba's doing, or maybe Thibodeau. Boudreaux recently had some surgery there, you know, at the local hospital. He's laying up in bed, starts coming to, and he opens his eyes up, and there's Marie standing there by his bed, and oh, my Sherry, he says, "You're sure beautiful." And he drifted back off to sleep. Well, that made Marie feel pretty darn good, you know, and so she waits around, and later on in the day, he wakes up again, and he looks at her, and Boudreaux said, "Oh, you're cute." Marie said, "Oh, cute?" She says, "What happened to beautiful?" Boudreaux said, "Oh," he says, the drugs are wearing off." Well, that's all, folks. Y'all try to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Leave a comment if you got something to say. And above all, remember, keep on keeping on. Bye now.